Hare Krishna, Madhav, Sharan Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. Can you hear me, Prabhuji?
No, Hare Krishna Prabhu, yes, I can hear you, Prabhu.
Okay. We are ready, Prabhu. Can you turn on our camera, Prabhu? Possible?
Yeah. Sure. 1 minute, Prabhu. Yeah.
Okay, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna devotees, Dandavat Pranam. Welcome to Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Today we are very fortunate to have the association of His Grace Madhav Sharan Prabhu, who will be sharing the nectar from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto number 6, chapter number 1, sloka number 2 and 3. Prabhuji, over to you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Mena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshtarini Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. First of all, I would like to take the blessings of all the assembled devotees. Accept my humble obeisances. Today we are covering from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 1, Shloka 2 and 3. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Text 2. Pravritti Lakshanaschaiva Traigunya Vishayo Mune Yosha Alina Prakratir Gunasargaha Punaha. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Prabhu, am I able to share?
Yes, Prabhuji, you can share, Prabhu. I given the rights, Prabhuji.
Translation. O great sage Shukadeva Goswami, unless the living entity is freed from the infection of the material modes of nature, he receives different types of bodies in which to enjoy or suffer. And according to the body, he is understood to have various inclinations. By following these inclinations, he traverses the path called Pravritti Marga, by which one may be elevated to the heavenly planets, as you have already described in the third canto. Purport. As Lord Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita 9.25, Yanti Deva Vrata Devan Pitrunyanti Pitravrataha Bhutani Yanti Bhutejya Yanti Madhyajino Apimam. Those who worship the demigods will take birth among the demigods. Those who worship the ghosts and spirits will take birth among such beings. Those who worship ancestors go to the ancestors, and those who worship me will live with me. Because of the influence of the various modes of nature, the living entities have various tendencies or propensities, and therefore they are qualified to achieve various destinations. As long as one is materially attached, he wants to be elevated to the heavenly planets because of his attraction to the material world. Supreme Personality of Godhead declares, however, those who worship me come to me. If one has no information about the Supreme Lord and his abode, one tries to be elevated to the only to a higher material position, but when one concludes that in this material world there is nothing but repeated birth and death, he tries to return home back to Godhead. Let's see the purport during the class further. This one. Text 3. Adharma lakshana nana नरकाश्चानो वर्णितः मन्वन्तरश्च व्याख्यात आद्यः स्वयंभुवो यतः. Translation: You have also described at the end of the fifth canto the varieties of hellish life that result from impious activities. And you have described in the fourth canto, in the first Manvantara, which was presided over by Swayambhuva Manu, the son of Lord Brahma. Hare Krishna. So, this section of Srimad Bhagavatam, the sixth canto, especially explains about the Poshanam. There are 10 subject matters which Srimad Bhagavatam explains, and the sixth canto mainly explains about the Poshanam. And in the previous verse, verse number 1, Srila Sukadeva Goswami is explaining about the, Maharaj, actually Parikshit is asking, in the second chapter, you have already explained about the path of liberation, the Nivritti Marg. So basically, the Nivritti Marg and the Pravritti Marg. And in the Nivritti Marg, what it is said, it is certainly elevation gradually to the highest planetary system, Brahmaloka. And from Brahmaloka, one gets promoted to the spiritual world along with Lord Brahma. Thus, one's reputation of birth and death in the material world ceases. And here he is explaining that in the third canto, you have also explained about the Pravritti Marg. So, why he is bringing this point last in the fifth canto, end of fifth canto, Srila Sukadeva Goswami explained about the hellish planets, basically the different planetary systems and the hellish planets. So, one understanding about the hellish planets, the Nivritti Marg is the opposite direction to the hellish planets. Means hellish planet, going to hellish planets is going downwards. And the path of Nivritti Marg is going, elevating step by step to the higher planetary systems and finally to the Brahmaloka, and then from there to the spiritual world. So basically, that is the reason here Shri Parikshit Maharaj is bringing the point why people are committing impious activities. Here in the third shloka, he is explaining the varieties of hellish life that results from impious activities. The impious activities is the sinful activities. Various kinds of people are doing various types of activities. Sakarma, Vikarma, and also Akarma. And even in the worship, here in the purport of second shloka, there are three types of worship which different types of people they do. Some people they worship in the mode of ignorance, which is worship of ghosts and spirits. Yanti deva vrata devan pitranyanti pitra vrataha bhutani yanti bhuteja. Bhutani yanti bhuteja is they worship the ghosts and spirits, which is worship in the mode of ignorance. And bhutani yanti bhuteja pitranyanti pitra vrataha. Even worship of the pitras, mode of passion, or the mode of goodness, who are worshipping different devatas. Yanti deva vratab devan. But there is a transcendental worship, which is called the worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. So those who worship Lord Sri Krishna, they live with Lord Krishna in the spiritual world. Yanti Madhyajino Apimam. So basically the goal of Nivritti Marg is that only to go back to the spiritual world. Here, Srila Prabhupada is making a point that the living entity is doing the Brahmana toward the universe. Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavana Jiva Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Bija. So according to the karma, all living entities are wandering throughout the universe, and some are being elevated to the upper planetary systems and some are going down into the lower planetary systems. Here basically in the shloka which we are seeing today, the text 2 is explained about the path called the Pravritti Marg. The Pravritti Marg is basically getting elevated to the higher heavenly planetary systems. The motto is the sense gratification only, but within the purview of the scriptures or the authorities. So that is the difference between the Devas and the Asuras. Devas, they also enjoy, and Asuras also, they also want to enjoy. But the difference is Asuras, they, break the laws of the scriptures and they want to enjoy. But whereas the Devas, they want to enjoy within the purview of the scriptures. So actually, Pravritti Marg also, they are attached to the sense gratification only. The inclinations he traverses the path is that inclination towards going towards the heavenly planets, or doing the sense gratification within the purview of scriptures is Pravritti Marg. But one has to get out of this tendency and come to the Nivritti Marg, and the goal of the Nivritti Marg is to go back to Godhead. Here Srila Prabhupada is mentioning that when one concludes that in this material world there is nothing but repeated birth and death, he tries to return home back to Godhead. And if one attains that destination, he need not return back to this material world. Yadgatvana nivartante tadhama paramam mama. So one who goes to the spiritual world, he does not have to come back to the material world. So the basically even in this lecture related to this shloka, Srila Prabhupada was explaining that there are 84 lakh species of life, and the living entity is passing through different yonis, different species of life, and it is going up and going down. It's like a Ferris wheel. Sometimes the spikes are on the top, but the wheel is rotating, the spike doesn't stand on the top only. Immediately the next second or the next moment, it is on the bottom or the different other positions. So similarly, the spirit soul, sometimes it is becoming the king, sometimes it is becoming the ant, sometimes the servant, sometimes devatas. So in this way, it is doing the Brahmana, Brahmanda, Brahmite, Kona Bhagyavanji. But one who is very fortunate and who is coming with the contact of a bona fide spiritual master, and he gets the Bhakti Lata Beej from the spiritual master, that he is very, very fortunate and he can cultivate the path of Bhakti. So actually in the Nivritti Marg, what happens? One from the Bhuloka is trying to elevate to higher planetary systems, say Swargaloka, then Jannaloka, Tapoloka. Slowly he is trying to elevate one by one to the next level of planetary system, next level, ultimately try to come to Brahmaloka. But the thing is that the subtle, these inclinations to do the sense gratification, it will be there. So here it is mentioned, inclinations is like the kuta bija, which both ultimately coming from avidya only. So avidya is the root cause of all suffering. So forgetting the original position of the soul, original nature of the soul, that the soul is Satchidananda, forgetting that the inclination to the sense gratifications, the pravritti, that is the kuta. And then the kuta, from kuta, the material desires arise. So from there, the living entity engages in the karmic activities. So basically, the Srila Prabhupada is telling, in the human life only we can understand all these things. So human life is very, very important. So दुर्लभो मानुषो देहो देहिनाम क्षण भंगुरा तत्रापि दुर्लभम मन्ये वैकुंठ प्रिय दर्शनम. So actually, Nivritti Marg, one wants to go back to spiritual world, but ultimately the final goal is bhakti only. So we have to understand the bhakti, the results of all jnana and karma, everything is attained by the process of bhakti. So bhakti yoga is the highest. So that we have to understand. And one who is fortunate to come to the platform of the Shuddha Bhakti Marg, and one who is fortunate to get the mercy of the bona fide spiritual master, actually his position is very, very, bright. This future is very bright, because very soon he is going back to Godhead. If he is seriously practicing without any offenses, his path is very clear. So that is why the Nivritti Marg is the progressive path towards the liberation. It's going back to Godhead. But the path which some of the yogis or the tapasvis they follow is going by to the Janaloka, to Tapaloka, to Maharloka, or the higher planetary systems. That takes lot of lifetimes. Bahunam janma namante. So if you see the yoga ladder also, karma yoga, then the jnana yoga, then ashtanga yoga. In ashtanga yoga, one tries to meditate on the Paramatma form, dhyana avastita tadgatena manasa pashyantiyam yogino. So one tries to meditate on the form of the Paramatma, and then later after this he sees the form of the Lord Paramatma, then he may get some Shanta Rasa. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came and he broke the treasure house of the chanting of the holy name, the Harinam Sankirtan. And he is giving the highest rasa of Madhurya rasa. So here in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara, we are getting the highest, or even other souls who are into Dasya Rasa, Sakhya Rasa, or Vatsalya Rasa also, they are having the Shuddha Bhakti or the pure devotional service. Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmaryana vratam anukulena krishnanushilanam bhaktiruttama. So Anyabhilashita Shunyam. This is the devotees are coming to the platform of Anyabhilashita Shunyam. That platform the devotees are coming. But before that, even in the Pravritti Marga or the Nivritti Marg, it is better to worship, keep Krishna in the center. So that is what is explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Akama sarva kamo va moksha kama udaradhi. So whatever may be the path, the pravritti marg or the nivritti marg, when one gets attached to Krishna or keeping Krishna in the center, he gets purified. The purification is there. Otherwise, the laws of nature are very, very strong. The laws of nature will act even if the devotees are not 100% practicing the Ananya Bhakti, even laws of nature may act. But of course, under the direction of Supreme Personality of Godhead. For example, if the child tries to touch the fire, then the fire will burn child's hand also. It doesn't see that, oh, child doesn't know that, if it puts the hand in the fire, it will burn. It doesn't know, so I will not burn. Fire doesn't think like that. So, in the laws of nature will act upon everyone. If one is breaking the law, then it will act. So that is why the offense, seventh offense, uh, uh, based on the strength of the holy name, one is committing sinful activities. That is also an offense. So one should be very, very careful not to commit any sinful activities. So here Poshanam in the sixth canto, Poshanam means Krishna says, become my devotee, manmana bhava mad bhakto madhyajimam namaskuru. So I will protect you. Even in the 18th chapter, he says, Svadharman parityeja mamemkam sharanam raja aham tvam sarva papebhyo that verse is there, Ma Suchaha. Ma Sucha is telling that do not worry, I will protect you. So, in all directions, Krishna is telling that he will give us the protection. So, there is so many instances or the so many leelas Krishna has performed to show that he will protect his devotees. So when Bhishma Dev one day is ferociously fighting, and he is almost ready to kill Arjuna. At that time, Krishna breaks his promise of not fighting, and he takes the wheel of the chariot and goes to fight against Bhishma Dev. So to show to the world that in order to protect my devotee, I can even break my own promise. So that is Krishna's one of the beautiful quality of Bhaktavatsala. He is very, very fond of his devotees, and he at any cost uh, protects his devotees. That is the subject matter of sixth canto, Poshanam. Here in the first chapter, the history of life of Ajamila is explained, and here in this chapter, on the further chapters, whatever we are seeing, even one who is not following the pravritti marg or the nivritti marg, but still, because of the mercy of the holy name, how one can get delivered to the highest destination. Ajamila performed so many sinful activities, but still, by the mercy of the holy name, by the mercy of the Vishnu Dutas, Vaishnavas, how he could get the highest destination. That is the subject matter, the Poshanam, the how Krishna protects his devotees. Here, we even in this fourth canto, Dhruva Maharaj, we see how severe austerities he performs for 6 months. And when he sees the Lord, he is telling that I was aspiring for broken pieces of glasses. And what he was aspiring for, what was his aspiration? His aspiration was to get the greater kingdom than Lord Brahma. And that aspiration, the greater kingdom than the Lord Brahma, is comparing it to the broken pieces of glasses. So, what to speak of insignificant sense gratificatory, pleasures? It is, I think, the pieces of glasses. So we can see that how much pleasure is there in practicing the devotional service. So, Yan Maithunadi, that Sri Prahlad Maharaj says, Sukham hi tucham. Tucham means very low quality or very insignificant uh, pleasure. But the pleasure which is derived from the devotional activities, that is highest pleasure. Anandambudi vardhanam pratipadam purna amrata swadhanam. Sarvatma snapanam param vijayate Sri Krishna sankirtanam. So the pleasure increases day by day, moment by moment. By every activities of devotional service we are performing, we are coming one step closer to Krishna, one step closer to Krishna, and the pleasures is also increasing, and we are getting purified. Srila Prabhupada says, one day we will become completely 100% purified, and then we are eligible to go back to Godhead. So Srila Prabhupada, by his mercy, has given this wonderful ISKCON movement where association of devotees and the hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam and Prasadam, it is so easily available. Actually, we see so many verses where we see the rarity of association of devotees. We see in the this verse which you are seeing in the screen. तुलयाम नवे नापि न स्वर्गम ना पुनर्भवम भगवत संगी संगस्य मर्त्यानाम किम उताशिषः. The value of a moment's association with the devotees of the Lord cannot be even compared to the attainment of heavenly planets or liberation from matter. What to speak of worldly benedictions in the form of material prosperity, which are for those who are meant for death. Even lava, here tulayama, lava means very fraction of second. It is like we blink the eye, and blinking the eye, 1.5 time blinking the eye is one lava. So even for that moment, if one gets the association of devotees, highest perfection can be attained. Sadhu Sangha Sharva Shastra Kaye, Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha Sarva Siddhi Hoye. Lava Matra, there also it is said, Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha. So we have practically seen this in the recent. We may need not tell that Srimad Bhagavatam 5,000 years ago, all those things. Just recently, Srila Prabhupada, we see so many of the his disciples, they saw Srila Prabhupada for few seconds only, or some one Mataji, I think one Mataji saw Srila Prabhupada. Just I think he was going by car, and she just had one glance. It's like a lover, maybe near to lover only. That much only she saw Prabhupada. And the moment she saw, she completely, she or he, I don't know, but I think mostly Mataji, uh, completely dedicated the life, for this moment, in Srila Prabhupada's service. So that is the power of Shuddha Bhakta. So how one moment's association of pure devotee can change one's totally his life. And Slavamatra sadhu sangha sarva siddhi hoya. So he will get all siddhi by moment's association of devotee. And what is the association of devotee? Maddashraya kata mrishtaha shanvanti katayanti cha tapanti vividhastapa naitan madgata chetasaha. Always engage constantly in chanting and hearing about me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The sadhus do not suffer from material miseries because they are always filled with the thoughts of my pastimes and activities. Here, what it is said, what the devotees they do, the Srunvanti Katayanti cha, the chanting and hearing about Krishna. The sadhus are always constantly engaged, because of which they are not uh, finding any material miseries or material sufferings. So this is the real association. So association doesn't mean we just come to temple and just say Hare Krishna and have some prasadam. No, that is why Srila Prabhupada, he in every ISKCON temple morning Srimad Bhagavatam class and evening Srimad Bhagavad Gita class. In the association of devotees, we are constantly hearing about Krishna and chanting about Krishna. We are doing kirtan and bhajans, singing various bhajans, arati. These are constantly engaged in chanting and hearing. So with this, what will happen? The devotee's mind becomes absorbed in the pastimes and activities of the Lord. So basically, the desires which are there in the heart, they are channelized towards Krishna's, serving Krishna, service to Krishna and his devotees. Otherwise, all the 6 other days where when we are associating with the mundane world or interacting with mundane various people, the tendency of the desires may go in the different directions, and we tend to think just like the materialistic people are thinking. Some people want to earn money, money is honey. So like that they will be their desires are channelized like that. Some people, they are so much attached to opposite sex or the opposite gender, and they freely mingle and freely interact with each other, laughing and without any restrictions. So when one devotee sees, maybe his desires may get you know diverted or diluted. But when one comes in the association of devotees and constantly is engaged in chanting and hearing along with the devotees, sadhu sangha, then what will happen? His desires are channelized towards serving Krishna, hearing the beautiful pastimes and glories of the Lord. His desires are channelized. So here, actually, if we see observe this second shloka where he's pravritti lakshanas chaiva traigunya vishayo mune yosav alina prakritir. Alina prakritir, he is mentioning that Maya. And here, Vishaya is the Vishaya means the objectives or the object. And Traigunya is under the modes of material nature. Here, the pravritti, the inclinations, whichever it is mentioned, Actually, the strong inclinations for the conditioned soul is there to do the bhoga or the sense gratification, which is arising due to the avidya. When one forgets that I am the servant of Krishna, and when the eyes are covered, avratam jnanametena jnanino nityavairina. So his eyes are covered and he cannot see that he is the servant of the Lord. Then what happens? The sinful proclivities or the kuta arises in the heart. And kuta slowly leads to the bija, which is the material desires. And if the devotee is not very careful or he is not very serious in practicing devotional activity, then the material desires may fructify into the activity and he may engage in the activity. And when he engages in the activity, two things will happen. One thing, he gets the aprarabdha phala, and then again the tendency to further commit the same activity, which is again kuta is getting stronger. The proclivity is getting stronger. So in this way, one will go on and on into the pool of material existence. And whatever the aprarabdha phala which he has got over the period of time, maybe next life or next to next life, it becomes the prarabdha phala, and he has to enjoy or suffer for that prarabdha phala. And kuta has also become very strong. So in this way, the living entity continues in the cycle of birth and death. So aprarabdam phalam papam kutam bijam phalomukam krameneva praliyeta Vishnu bhakti rata. So only Vishnu bhakti or Krishna bhakti can approve the all this kuta, bija and avidya, everything can approve. Only the bhakti, Vishnu bhakti or Krishna bhakti can approve. Otherwise, what will happen? The tendency to enjoy, the tendency to do sense gratification will continue. That is what is Parikshit Maharaj is further he is explaining about that. Manne kunjara shauchavat. The in the previous chapter, fifth canto, hellish planets were explained, and Shukadeva Goswami, when he is explaining the hellish planets, the Parikshit Maharaj gets the doubt why people are engaging in the sinful activities when they know that this leads me to the hellish planets. It is like, even though some people they may not be wanting, but the tendencies are so strong. The kuta is very, very strong. And then the material desires, bija becomes very strong. And again, they commit sinful activities. So the same, Srila Prabhupada is mentioning that every Saturday or Sunday one goes to the church and the confesses, I did so many sinful activities, I did, drank alcohol, I did so many illicit activities, and confesses on the Sunday, and Monday again the sinful activities will start. So why this is so? So even Parikshit Maharaj is asking same thing. What is the use of that atonement when he is atoning and again he is committing sinful activities? the inclinations are to do the sense gratification or the sinful activities is so strong. That is coming from the avidya. When we forget that we are the servant of Krishna, then because of the false ego and the kuta becomes very, very strong. The beach and the beach arises, and then one is engaged in the sinful activities. And because of engaging in so many sinful activities, one is drawn towards hellish planets. But in order to escape from this, the best thing is Vishnu Bhakti Ratatman. So perform Krishna Bhakti, Namavidha Bhakti. So Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. So perform this Namavidha Bhakti chanting starting from Shravanam and Kirtanam, especially the holy name. So the whole, this in the first section of the sixth canto, the glories of the holy name is explained. How Ajamila, only one name of Narayana, that is also directed towards his son. How much powerful it is, because that is the holy name is non-different from Krishna. Abhinnatvam nama namino. So bhakti is so powerful. Even though here it's mentioned pravritti marg and the nivritti marg, where gradual elevation, Srila Prabhupada and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they have given us the simplest path of the highest, fastest way back to spiritual world. So instead of going through different ladders, different layers of yoga ladder, the fastest ladder which breaks, all the barriers, just surrender to a pure devotee, then perform all the Navavidha Bhakti under the guidance of the pure devotee or the spiritual master, then attain Bhava Bhakti, Prema Bhakti. So Sadhana Bhakti, Raganuga Bhakti, Bhava Bhakti, Prema Bhakti. Very fast. Otherwise, one spends Bahunam Janma Namante Jnanavan. Has to go through different lifetimes after lifetimes. Then, not sure whether he can attain Goloka Vrindavan. So, by the mercy of all the acharyas, by the mercy of Panchatattva and Nitai Gauranga, we have been given this wonderful path of practicing Krishna Bhakti in a most wonderful way. We have to completely utilize this path and then make our life successful by going back home, back to Godhead in this very lifetime. So we covered today that Pravritti Marg and Nivritti Marg. Basically, that was the second shloka about the Pravritti Marg. And Pravritti Marg and Nivritti Marg, better than that is following the path of Bhakti. Because ultimately, the goal of Nivritti Marg is liberation only. But the path of Shuddha Bhakti goes beyond liberation and which gives us Krishna Prema. So, but there are various types of worshippers who don't accept this path of Krishna Prema, but they worship in the mode of passion. Yanti Deva Vartan, we saw that they worship in different modes. And in this way, Brahmanda Brahmite, they are doing Brahman in various species of life, is sometimes going to the heavenly planets, and they are doing sense gratification within the scriptures, that is Pravritti Marg. But if they break the laws of scriptures, then it is like sinful activities which leads them to hellish planets. That's what is mentioned in the third text. And basically, the whole this sixth canto explains about the Poshanam. And Poshanam, Krishna says, become my devotee. And we also saw the importance of devotee association. And what is really the association? This chanting and um, uh, the constantly hearing about the Lord's glories, Lord's pastimes, Lord's holy name. And Krishna says, when you become my devotee, I will give you all the protection. That is the Poshanam. And devotees association is the highest. But sometimes we will have, sometimes even devotees may have this tendency for sense gratification, which is coming from many previous lives. That is because of the Kutam Bijam. And Kuta, because of Kuta, material desires come. And material desires, just if he is trying to fulfill the material desires, then again he will commit, he will get aprarabdha phala and further inclination, further kuta, inclinations to do the same sinful activities. So best thing what Srila Prabhupada says is, when material desires come, don't act on the material desires. Tolerate. Tolerating is the solution, not to engage in the sinful activities or the karma or any negative which breaks the regulative principles. Don't act on it. Tolerate the material desires. Then what will happen? The bija will get destroyed there only when one tolerates. It will not further lead to aprarabdha phala or the further kuta. So that cycle is broken. When the cycle is broken, the kuta reduces, the proclivity, the pravritti to do the sinful activity reduces, and heart becomes more and more clear, pure, and one can see that he is the soul. So when one can see that he is the soul, then the Brahmabhuta Prasannatma na shochati na kangsha. So he is always blissful. So basically, that is why nectar of instruction starts with the shloka that Vacho Vegam Manasa Krodha Vegam. Restrain, tolerate, don't give in to the material desires. Then it is very, very fast one can progress. And this Kuta, Bija, everything gets this Kramenaiva Praliyeta. Kramenaiva means step by step, gradually one becomes, pure when one is performing Vishnu Bhakti Rata, when one is performing Vishnu Bhakti. Then all the Kuta, Bija, Prarabdha, everything will go away and one becomes a pure soul and he can see that he is the servant of the Lord, Jivera Swarupai Krishna Nityadas, and understand his real position, and then after leaving the body, he can go back home, back to Godhead. That is the whole purpose of the Nivritti Marga also. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Any questions, comments, or corrections?
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Thank you very much for the very nice class. Beautifully comparing Pravritti Marg, Nivritti Marg, and how devotional service or Bhakti Marga is superior. Thank you, Prabhu. I request the devotees to share the comments or reflections, please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandvat Pranam. You give us a lot of hopes because we are in the Pravritti Marg. But as you said, when we are in Pravritti Marg and then we go on listening and practicing the devotional activities, our desires will get directed towards the Supreme Lord. So thank you so much for giving us the hope to go back to Godhead, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam. Very nice class, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, one correction. We are not fully following Pravritti Marg.
Yeah.
We are following Bhakti Marg, like Bhakti
Yes,
Yoga, Bhakti
yes.
Marg. Pravritti Marga, what happens? They are not thinking about bhakti, but the main goal is only sense gratification, going to higher planetary system and doing the sense enjoyment, but within the scriptures. But being devotees, our motto is not going to higher planetary system. Ours is Anyabhilashita Shunyam, basically Krishna Prema. So we are not following Pravritti Marg. Ours is Bhakti Yoga, Bhakti Marga, following the path of Shuddha Bhakti. But that while following the Shuddha Bhakti also, because of the previous impressions, previous samskaras and all the vasanas, everything, we may have this
Desires.
kuta, bija, these desires, which may be sometimes leading to committing some lower nature activities. So that I was referring to, like how the kuta and bija within purview of bhakti only we can overcome. That is by tolerating.
Yes.
Correction.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Dandavat Pranam.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna,
Mataji.
Dandavat Pranam. Thanks for the wonderful
Right.
class, Prabhu. Prabhu, I was
Right.
trying to understand this Pravritti Marga. Does it include only Karma Kandiya activities, Prabhu, Vedic, or it includes even sinful activities, Prabhu?
No sinful activities. Only Pravritti Marga includes only within the scriptures. That means Karma Kandiya or within the purview of the scriptures, like maybe doing the tapasya, yajna, tap. But the aspirations is to go to the higher planetary systems
Yes, Prabhu.
and
Thank you.
the sense gratification. Yeah.
And Nivrutti Marga, does it include Bhakti or no, Prabhu?
Actually, Nivritti Marga, specifically, if you see, that is going to upper planetary systems, elevating from one planet to next higher planetary system. For example, we have Maharloka, Janaloka, then Tapoloka, then Brahmaloka, right? So, even in some of the authorized Sampradaya also, they say that we cannot directly go to Vaikuntha, but we have to elevate ourselves to Maharloka, then Maharloka to Janaloka, then Tapoloka, then ultimately, finally, Brahmaloka, and stay there with Brahma until Brahma leaves his body. And when Brahma leaves the body, Brahma goes to Vaikuntha, and if one is following the path of Nivritti Marg perfectly, then when Brahma leaves the body, along with him, his associates, also, many of them also go to Vaikuntha. This is the real Nivritti Marg. But the goal is to go back to Vaikuntha only, the liberation only.
Yes,
But
Prabhu.
the Bhakti Marg, the goal is not liberation. The goal is Krishna Prema, which is beyond liberation. So if you read the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it is mentioned Moksha Laguta Krat. So liberation is the byproduct of bhakti, but Krishna Prema is beyond liberation, right? So that is the difference. Nivritti Marg, liberation is the goal, but the step-by-step gradual process. But Bhakti Marg, Krishna Prema is the goal. In Krishna Prema, liberation is only the byproduct. There are 6 things, right? Shubhada, Moksha Laguta, Krat, Sudurlabhas, Sandrananda, Visheshatma, all the 6 things in the
Yes.
Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu it's mentioned. Yeah.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranams, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranams. Thank you for the wonderful class, Prabhu. Today I
Hare
got
Krishna.
little clarity between Pravritti and Nivritti, but I have to listen to your class again, Prabhu. It was so wonderful. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Prabhu.
Prabhuji, one comment, Prabhu. I think, even for applying the material sense gratification, one has to follow the injunctions of the Veda. Then only, legally they are authorized to enjoy the material benefits. Actually, if you see Kali Yuga was so fallen, as you were mentioning the class, most of the people, they don't fit even in the Pravritti mark. They are so at the low level, and Mahaprabhu Srila Prabhupada was so merciful. They know the condition of these people, and they know that they are neither fitting in Pravritti mark nor in Nivritti mark. So they actually gave the easy path. One devotee was mentioning that otherwise, for going to the 35th floor, it's not possible for us to climb through the staircase. So it's given an express elevator. It's not even normal elevator. Express elevator. It doesn't stop anywhere.
Yeah.
It directly goes to 35th floor.
Yeah.
And on another comment, Prabhu, I think, Sanatana Dharma shows how complete it is actually. Because the Acharyas, they know that people, they have different tendencies. Not everybody, would be interested in certain things. So they given various paths according to their taste. But ultimately, Bhakti is the best. So, and then, so that's what I realized. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for wonderful class.
Example which you, thank you, Prabhu. That example which you gave, that express elevator, that is the same thing which is the yoga ladder, na Prabhu. So yoga ladder, if you are going through the normal yoga ladder is like climbing the step to 35th floor. It is becoming Bhunam Janmanam, lifetimes after lifetime. Karma yoga, then Jnana yoga, then Ashtanga yoga, then finally come to Bhakti yoga. So that yoga, normal yoga ladder is like climbing the steps. That is why the express elevator which you told is like the surrendering to spiritual master is a Brahmanda Brahmite Kaum, that surrender, you immediately surrender to spiritual master, whatever stage you are in, because hippies, they just surrendered to Srila Prabhupada and they become the greatest Vaishnavas. Now we can see. So similarly, just surrendering to the bona fide spiritual master, practice sadhana bhakti under his guidance, immediately come to the spontaneous raga bhakti and then bhava bhakti prema. So that is the fastest elevator. So this is within one lifetime also one can achieve the Krishna prema. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Wonderful comments.
Hare Krishna, Prabhus and Matajis. Can we all chant once for Guru Maharaj as he is leaving to Singapore for further treatment?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare.
Hare Krishna. So, are there any further questions or can we close the class?
I think we can end the class right now.
Yeah. Yes, Prabhu.
Panchakalpatarubhyascha
Kapa Sindhubhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Ananta Koti Vaishnava Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol. Thank you, devotees. We'll meet tomorrow morning. Hare Krishna. Mandatana.